Hello all, welcome back to the BioRocks channel. In this video today we are going to learn about the sex determination. So as you can see on the screen, what you're able to view is the 23 pairs of the chromosomes that you can find in our nuclei, that is about your cell actually. So every individual bears these cells, and each cell is going to actually have 23 pairs of chromosomes. As you can see that the 22 pair of chromosomes are the homologous pairs of chromosomes which you get it from your father and mother. So these are the homologous chromosomes, one from the mother and one from the father, as you can see in the 10th pair here. In the same way, all the 22 pairs of chromosomes are the homologous autosomal chromosomes or the vegetative chromosomes, while the last 23rd pair of chromosome, what an individual bears, which is going to be called as a sex, these are going to be called as sex chromosomes, or we are going to call them as allosomes, which determine your sex. Okay, so these are those 23 pairs of chromosomes, for which reason they have given you R, because if it's going to be a male child, he is going to have 22 pairs of autosomal vegetative chromosomes along with the one pair of a sex chromosome, which is going to be XY. And if it's going to be a female child, she's going to have these 22 pairs of chromosomes with this one pair of XX chromosomes. Okay, so today what we are learning is all about the sex determination process. As you all have learned in the inheritance and variations chapters, that there are two laws which are going to determine the way the inheritance of the different traits are done in the individuals or carried out. One is going to be called as a law of segregation. One is being called as law of segregation, and other is going to be called as a independent assortment. Independent assortment, which actually can explain how the inheritance is carried of different traits or different characters that we see in an individual. So these pretty will explain the process, how the different characters are being passed from a parent to an offspring. But however, there are many such characters or traits which are inherited much more in a complex mechanism, which do not follow these law of segregation or the independent assortment. Such exceptional ones or the exceptional ways how the traits are being passed from the parent to the offsprings, which cannot be explained by the law of segregation or the independent assortment. We call them as exceptional cases, or we have many extensions actually which do not follow these two of them and which do not follow the Mendel's law. So what can I write here is which do not follow the Mendel's rules of inheritance of the characters. And such a main exceptional thing or an extension that we can see is about the, one second please, the one that we can speak here, the one such exceptional case that we can speak is about the inheritance of sex-linked characters. Inheritance of the sex-linked characters. So the inheritance of the sex-linked characters are not following the law of segregation or the independent assortment. They run in a complete different way. And how are these actually being inherited? The sex-linked characters are being inherited. The only thing here to remember is the characteristics are determined by the genes on the sex chromosomes itself. Okay, the first thing that I have raised a question is, how are these characters inherited if they're not following the law of segregation or the independent assortment? How are these characters being passed from the parent to the character? How are they being passed from a parent to that of a baby or a kid? How are they being? Because they are being actually transferred because these genes are actually located on the sex chromosomes itself. They are being located, these genes are located, which are being called as sex-linked characteristics. Those characters are determined by the genes, and these genes are being present on the sex chromosomes itself. So to understand the inheritance of the sex-linked characters or the traits, we have to first of all understand about the sex chromosomes and the different mechanisms how the sex is being determined. As you could see, children, that we have this 23rd pair of chromosome, where you can see that all the autosomes are homologous, having what are homologous chromosomes? Those are the ones which are going to have the same sizes, same shapes. As you can see, almost all from the first to the 22nd pair, all the homologous pairs are having the same size and shapes. But when you're talking about the sex chromosomes, they are completely different. They are not similar to each other. So now we are going to talk about those sex chromosomes where you can see that the X chromosomes are longer, larger, whereas your Y chromosomes are very, very, very short, very smaller. So before I enter into this, children, let us see few of these, what we call as, we'll be talking about the sex determinations first. Let us go to the sex determination process. Then we will enter into these sex chromosomes and how are the sex determined. Okay, so first coming on to the sex determination, there are different sorts of the sex determinations. One is going to be called as a chromosomal method of sex determination. This is one sort that we have. And the next one that we are going to have is going to be a genic way of sex determination, where your genes are going to determine your sex. And the third one that we are going to have is, it's going to be called as a haplodiploid sex determination techniques. So these are the different ways, and we have even the fourth one, which is being called as a environmental sex determination. So we have these different categories how a sex is being determined in different organisms. Okay, children, I hope you are understanding this. And coming on to the first sort, which is being called as a chromosomal sex determination, where the sex is being determined by the sex chromosomes. So here it's going to be done by the sex chromosomes, and we will be having these pair of sex chromosomes, which are going to actually determine chromosomes that determine the sex. Usually we are going to see that these are going to be the ones which are occurring in a pair, but these are not going to be homologous. What are homologous? I have already told you that homologous are those which are going to have same size and same shape that you can see in the autosomes or the vegetative chromosomes, but this is not the characteristic of the sex chromosomes. As you can see on the screen, the X chromosomes are huge, long than the Y chromosomes here. Okay, so this that you're seeing here is going to be the X chromosome, and this is going to be a Y chromosome. So this is not the case in the sex chromosomes. First of all, coming on to a few of the examples, children, let me give you a few examples here. That we have one of it which is being called as XXXO system, where you can see that these both are same. So what do we call them as? We are going to call them as homogametic. We are going to call homogametic, and homogametic are these females here, and the next one that you can see where you have only one X chromosome, then it is going to be a male here. But in the males, children, remember that during the gamete formations, only if it's going to be separated, it's going to be one X and the other is going to be the autosome, but there will be This 0 is nothing but it's an autosome, but not a sex chromosome. So in males, you will get only one X and one shall be the autosome here. But while in the females, you can see the homogametic, which means that both are XX chromosomes. This can be seen in some of the individuals like grasshoppers. This can be seen mostly in the grasshoppers and a few of the insects also. We can see this process of sex determination. Okay, and there is another sex determination of a chromosomal, which is going to be, let me change the color. So we are going to have another one where we can see that it's going to be XX and XY, where you can see in the humans as well as you can see in few of the insects, few of the fish, and a few of the amphibians, reptiles, and mammalians. You can see this category where the females are going to be the XX and the males are going to be the XY, where the maleness is being determined by the Y chromosome. Not only the Y chromosome, but also the genes present on the Y chromosomes are determining the maleness. Okay, children, not only the Y chromosome, but also the gene on the Y chromosome. These togetherly are going to actually determine the maleness in an individual. So in an individual, the maleness is determined by the Y chromosome, number 1 point, and the gene on the Y chromosome, which is also going to determine. That's the reason we call the sex determination in the human males, or in the humans, or in this particular XY sex determination, where you can see in the few of the fishes, amphibians, reptiles, mammalians, especially humans, you can even call this as a chromosomal sex determination, chromosomal sex determination, and genic sex determination. Why so? Because we have seen that the gene on the Y chromosome as well as the chromosome itself is determining the maleness. So we call it as chromosomal or genic sex determination in the case of XX and XY sex determination. Okay, children, and there is another case also here where you can see that there we are going to have ZZ and ZW, where you can see that the homogametic, where you can speak about the ZZ chromosomes here, is going to determine a male, and the ZW is going to determine a female, and this can be seen in the birds, in the butterflies. You can see this category, as well as in few of the amphibians and reptiles also. Okay, and when coming to the coming on to the genic sex determination, as I told you that genic sex determination is not going to be done by no determination by the sex chromosomes. No determination by sex chromosomes. So then how is the sex determined in the genic process? In the genic sex determination, it's going to be done by, the sex determination is done by the genes located on undifferentiated chromosomes. Undifferentiated chromosomes. So if it's being done by the genes, we call it as genic sex determination, where you can see the examples as plants, fungi, and protozoans. These are the examples for the sex determination through the genic process. And even fish also, we can take the example here of this. And next, coming on to, we have environmental, where in the environmental, children, if you're going to talk about, this is going to be purely based on the environmental conditions. Example, if you're going to talk about the turtles, we have two weather conditions. One is warmthness and one is cold. If it's going to be warmth, mostly we can see that the females are developed, and if it's going to be cold, mostly the male sex is being determined here. But if you're going to talk about the alligators, we can see that it's going to be a contrary, where you can see that the both the conditions, warmth and cold, the warmthness is going to mostly help in development or determining the male sex, and the cold temperatures are going to determine the female sex. Okay, and coming on to the haplodiploid. So let me take a new page and explain you the last one, which is being called as a haplodiploid way of sex determination. Okay, how is this being done? So first, coming on to this, children, remember that here we do not have, one second, in the haplodiploid, we can see that usually males are haploid and the females are going to be diploid in nature. Remember that for the gamete formation, remember that this particular one here is going to undergo the meiotic cell division, while since this is already haploid, for the gamete formation, this is going to actually undergo mitosis in order to maintain that haploid nature. Okay, this is usually seen in the honeybees, wasp bees, and ants. We can see, remember that females are being generated by the fertilization, which results in the formation of a diploid female. Sorry, while a male is developed by an unfertilized egg. Okay, this is developed by an unfertilized egg, while a female is developed by the fertilization of the egg. This is going to be the one which is being called as a haplodiploid sex determination. Now, coming on to the major topic here about the sex determination in the humans, the one that you're going to seeing here is going to be a Y chromosome. Y chromosome. And the one that you're seeing here, the huge one, is going to be the X chromosome. Okay, children? And remember that here you can see some typical structures here, right? These two typical structures that you can see at the top here, these are being called as the primary pseudo autosomal regions. Okay, and the next one that you can see here at the bottom of both of these X and Y chromosomes is being called as secondary pseudo autosomal regions. Okay, and another important thing, children, let me make a note here that here both the chromosomes that you're finding on the screen, that is a X and Y chromosomes, they are not at all of the same shape as all the other, as you can see, all the other autosomes are of same sizes and shapes, while coming on to these X and Y chromosomes, which are 6 chromosomes that are not of the same size and shape. If at all, one second, if at all, if these are not of same size, then how do they align during the metaphase 1? How are they aligning when they do not have a same size and shapes? Come on, tell me. If they do not have a same size, how can they align? So how is this happening? Actually, this happens because they align in the primary, let me take this one. They are aligning in the primary pseudo-autosomal regions as well as the secondary pseudo-autosomal regions, which are very much identical. Remember that X and Y chromosomes are homologous only in this section. Got it, children? So remember, the answer for this is X and Y chromosomes. X and Y chromosomes are homologous only in the pseudo-autosomal regions. So they align at those regions only. Have you got your answer? So they are aligning only in those areas during the metaphase 1. Not only these, but also the secondary and the pseudo-autosomal regions, both of them, means these secondary ones as well as the primary pseudo autosomal regions. What they do is they are not only helping in aligning the chromosomes, but also they are going to limit the recombination. They are going to limit the recombination process between X and Y. Okay. And the other most important thing here to remember, children, is your Y chromosome is going to have a special gene, and that special gene is being called as SRY gene. This is going to be your SRY gene, and this SRY gene is a 1. So let me write in capitals, SRY gene. This is a gene which is going to be responsible for the male. Actually, this has been called as a male determining gene, because this is the one which is going to turn on or help in the development of the testes, and it results, and after the developing of the testes, it results in the production of the testosterone, which is going to actually help in determining the maleness in an individual. Okay, children, I hope I made it clear about the sex determination, not only in the humans, but also what are the different mechanisms, how the sex is being determined, what are those autosomes, what are those sex chromosomes that you can find. Okay, and in the forthcoming videos, I'll be releasing more about the sex-linked inheritance also. This was only about the sex determination as well as about the sex determining mechanisms. If you have liked this video, please do hit the like button. Try to comment in the comment section how this has helped you all. And please do subscribe my channel and try to share it with all the others too. Thank you all. Thank you.